You know it's this. Take a perk and a talk of that shit. Money swallowing like sis. Did it perfect in the kid. Got a billion who sang on my head. Look up better put on the road I just spent. I know we got $1 million. The devil that shit ain't not cheaper again.
Hello and welcome back, fellow anime lovers, to MangaMuse. I am delighted to have you join us once again in the world of fanfiction and fantasy. This is the 6th part of What If Naruto Enters Winx Club? Special note, this fanfic is written and a masterpiece of Pixel's Fanbook on FANFICTIONnet. Do check and support the author too. Now smash the like, share and subscribe button for more. Also press the bell icon so that you never miss such great parts. Thanks for the introduction. Now let's dive into the world. Triple S class. Tecna yells. Sequoia everdius swifta. Flora enviously says the species of the plant in the closet. Naruto snaps his fingers upon hearing the name. That's why that grabbed onto Tecna. Their species normally grow in the dark, but due to that, they don't usually receive any source of heat, they have to rely on other beings' heat to do that. They grab hold of a warm-blooded being, tie and restrain them and start taking their heat from their bodies. Naruto explains as he turns to Tecna, "You're lucky that we live in a warm place and that we got here quick. 'Cause if you in there all day, you'd be as cold as ice." He says, causing Tecna's eyes to widen in shock. What? I could have died. Tecna yells, learning that she was that close to death. She turns to Flora with a fierce expression, causing the tanned girl to cower and attempt to hide from the expression. "I'm so sorry, I didn't think that they would grow so fast like that. I swear I had no idea," Flora says, waving her hands in defense. Tecna continues to stare at Flora for a bit until she closes her eyes and... "Okay, don't go bananas. It's not worth it," Tecna says. She walks past Flora and toward her bed. "Tecna, I'm so sorry," Flora says. Naruto walks over to the closet and opens it and sees the plant in question as it was dormant right now. He closes the door and turns to Flora. "Flora, I have to know. Just how did you get a hold of triple S's?" Naruto asks. Flora just plays with her fingers and looks down. "I, may have, brought them back from after coming back after the Day of the Rose ended," Flora answers, causing Naruto to think and remember she was from Linfia, known to have each plant species on the planet, and it was quite easy to find what you were looking for there. "Okay, that makes sense," Naruto says. "Look Flora, I know you mean well and didn't do this on purpose. But I think I can say of the rest of us that it's getting crowded here and these plants are causing us issues. I think it's time that they have to go," Stella says. Flora sighs and looks down. She knows that her plants were causing problems with her friends and knew it was time to move them out of the dorm. "You're right. I'll come and collect everything in a sec and then I'll take all my stuff and myself over to Black Mud Swamp," Flora says, getting up and heading toward the door. The mention of Black Mud Swamp alters the others. "Black Mud Swamp? Are you sure? The last time we were there wasn't a pleasant one." Bloom says, they remember things went the last time they all were there, even if they were with Naruto and the specialists. Flora was by the door as she turns her head back to her. "The rooms at Alfea aren't a good place for my plants to grow. I have to put them there," Flora says. "But it's a dangerous place, we all know that." "You don't have to go there," Bloom says. "I know, but this is for the best. For my plants," Flora says. "But you didn't have to, right? Girls?" Bloom asks, turning back to the other girls for their opinions on the matter, but they didn't say a thing. Flora took that as an answer and leaves the room to get her things ready for the trip. Naruto saw and felt something from Flora's sadness. He turns his head to the girls and shakes his head in disappointment. "Guys, I think you might have hurt Flora's feelings by doing this. Look, I can see that the plants were getting a bit out of hand, but this is something she loves, it's her thing. She just wanted to get as much of the plants into her schoolwork as possible since she is the fairy of nature. I think you guys have to go and apologize to her before things get worse. Naruto says. The girls felt bad when he mentioned that. He sighs and walked toward the door, and was about to leave before turning back to them. I'm going to follow her and make sure she's going to be okay. Plus, she could use the company right now. I'll see you girls later. Naruto says. He leaves the room and goes to the hatch to the tunnel to go and head to Black Mud Swamp with Flora once he finds her. Back in the dorm, Bloom places Kiko on the floor and crosses her arms. He's right girls. Flora was just preparing for her big exam and she doesn't need this. She didn't mean for those things to happen. Bloom says. Bloom, we all have to study too. But when we study, we don't tear up her clothes. Stella says, placing her hands on her hips. Nor do we try to strangle her. Tekna says, still ticked about what happened. But that's just it. It's not her fault, she didn't know her plants would do those things. Naruto said that this is Flora's calling. Her exam is coming up and she's under a lot of stress. Bloom says, she sees the two girls weren't budging at all and knew they weren't going to listen to logic. Fine, have it your way. But I'm going to go and help her since I promised, and from where I'm from, promises mean something and you should keep them. She says, leaving the room but slamming the door on her way out. The door slammed, and the why Bloom and Naruto scolded them was now taking effect about how they yelled at Flora when it wasn't her fault. They turned to one another for an answer. Somewhere in Black Mud Swamp, near Althea, Magix. Noon. It didn't take very long for Naruto to find Flora as the two were surrounded by Flora's plants and were taking inventory at the campsite Flora set up upon arriving at the swamp. Thank you so much for helping me, Naruto. It really means a lot. Flora says. Naruto just smiles and waves her off. Nah, it's fine. I'm happy to help. Plus, it did look like you could use the help and company. Naruto says. Yeah. Flora says. She goes into her bag and pulls out a small green and red container. She opens the container and takes out a pair of black round-framed glasses. I didn't know you wear glasses. Naruto says. Flora gains a mad blush, embarrassed as she rubs her arm. Why, yeah, I do wear them. I used to wear them all the time when I was younger, but I stopped when I turned 13. I can see fine without them, but I carry them around and only put them on if I have to focus on something or if I'm reading. I just wear it when Bloom goes to bed. Flora says. She was expecting him to laugh at her on how she looked dorky with them on or make fun of her vision, but she didn't expect what he said. Well, you look great with them. Even cuter with them on, really. Maybe you should start wearing them now so I can see this cuter side of you more often. Naruto says, smiling and going back to take the inventory. What he didn't see was Flora's blush had enlarged and brightened in redness as she feels happy and lighter from hearing his compliment. Thank you. Flora stutters. So, how did you get into gardening? Flora asks. Naruto sheepishly chuckles and rubs the back of his head. Ha ha ha. Funny story really. So, after Granny, Auntie, and the other staff members took me in after I came to Magix, I was, still am, hyper and I couldn't really sit in one place for a long period of time. So, to put my energy into something productive, Granny introduced me to gardening. At first, I really didn't like it since I was too focused on training for some reason, but Granny sat me down and explained to me the wonders and joys of nature and its beauty. I just fell in love with it. After that, I took gardening like a flower taking in sunlight, and since then, I've grown a lot of plants over the years and even used them for some projects of mine. Naruto says, looking up to the sky and taking a deep breath of fresh air, listening to the life around him. Flora looks at him in awe at his words and the way he looked at the sky. He looked so calm and relaxed compared to how he usually was. Wow, that's really appealing, Naruto. I didn't expect that from you. Flora says. Naruto just laughs. Yeah, Most people don't really when they hear this, considering that I'm a guy and that I work at a mechanic repair shop. Naruto says, he takes off his gloves and sits on the ground, and looks at Flora. So, since you know how I got into garden, I want to know how you got into nature. He says. Flora sits on the ground next to him and looks at him. Well, I'm from Linfia as you know. My home planet is a literal greenhouse, filled with various families of plant life. How could I not fall in love with nature? It's so exotic, wild, and unpredictable. It's just like life, and I love it. That's why I came to Alfea, to learn all I can about plants and magic, so I can be Linfia's next guardian fairy and protect Mother Nature and its people. Flora says. Naruto could see her determination on her goal and smiles. That's a noble goal, Flora. I like that. Really didn't expect that from a gentle flower like you. Guess I should try and find another name for you to feel this badass side of you've hidden. Wonder what else you're hiding that's just waiting to blossom out. Naruto says. Flora's eyes widen as she turns to him, face red. What? What are you saying? Flora stammers. Naruto laughs and falls back first on the ground. I'm just kidding. You should see the look on your face. Naruto says as he continues to laugh. Flora calms down but her blush was still there and she pouts at him. Meanie. Flora mummers. So, the two hear some commotion from the bushes near them. Naruto stops laughing and sits up, preparing himself for what was coming. The commotion kept getting closer to them and... I really hate this swamp. They hear a familiar voice shout. The bushes spread apart and Bloom and the others appear. Girls? What are you doing here? Flora asks, Naruto dropping his guard while she quickly takes her glasses off and hides them. We came here to help you with your midterms. Bloom says. Really? Flora asks, surprised. She knew Bloom would help since she did promise her she would, but she was surprised with Stella and Tekna coming along. Yeah, plus, Stella and I were a little too harsh to you earlier. So we came to help you as a way to make it up to you. Tekna says, in an apologetic tone. Flora smiles. Really? Oh, thank you, guys. I forgive you. Flora says. So, what are you guys doing? Bloom asks, seeing they were looking at their inventory. We were just about to go and look for this very special flower in the forest. Naruto says with Flora nodding. Yes, see. Flora says. She pulls out a book from her bag and opens it where the bookmark was located and reads out a page that had an image of a purple flower. This is the cheerful gladiolus. She reads the name of the plant. That's a pretty flower. But are you too sure it can be found here? Stella asks. Flora sets the book down. Of course, the ecosystem of this swamp is the perfect environment for plants to grow. Flora says. And what do you need it for exactly? Musa says, sitting on a rock near the campsite. The essences of the cheerful gladiolus can be used as an antidote to the witch's sadness spell. Flora says, giggling. Well then, let go and get it. Stella says, but the two flower experts shake their heads. That's going to be an issue. See, it's a very shy flower and doesn't let anyone let it pick it. Naruto says, causing Stella to let out a long sigh. Don't tell me we're going to have to make it follow us of its own free will. I've had my taste of walking plants this year, thank you very much. Stella says. Flora just giggles and takes out a bottle of something from her tent. Actually, we don't need it to follow us. We just have to ask it to extend one of its petals and then I'll use this potion I made and check this out. Flora says. She opens the bottle and lets a drop of it hit on a petal of a plant that was behind them. The drop runs off the leaf and hits the ground, and suddenly on where the drop had hit, the ground gains a large amount of the petals that looked like the same as the plants next to it. Whoa! The others were surprised by this. I can create an infinite amount of artificial petals with this potion. Flora says, closing the bottle. This is great, Flora can get her petals and the plant can stay. She can pass her exam with no problem. Now let's go and find that plant. Bloom says. She turns to Kiko who was eating a bunch of petals. Kiko, you stay here and guard the campsite, the swamp isn't a good place for you to walk around. She says with the bunny nodding before going back and eating again. Can I also stay? I won't wander off, cross my heart. Stella asks, pleading with her friends to stay behind since she didn't want to walk in the swamp again. Stella, we're all in this together. You shouldn't start complaining already. Musa says. Who's complaining? But we will go back to Alfea once we find the flower, right? Stella. Stella. The others yell. Afternoon. 2 hours later. It had been a while since they began searching for the flower but they had no luck in finding it. They tried going deeper into the swamp but still found nothing, they tried going down a different trail but still found nothing. Found anything, Naruto? Flora yells up a tree and on the top of the tree was Naruto with a pair of binoculars, looking through them in search of a field or anything that could have the cheerful gladiolus there but found nothing. He takes the binoculars off his eyes and looks down. Nope, got 0 from up here. Naruto yells as he starts to leap from branch to branch toward the ground. On the ground, Stella was standing on a small hill as she steps into some mud, much to her cringe at feeling it ooze in between her foot and shoe. Oh, man. Stella says. She lifts her foot up and starts to wipe the mud off from it. Why our swamps are so dash, she was saying but was cut off. Swampy. Musa jokes, laughing a little but Stella found her joke not to be funny. Your comments are uncalled for, Musa. Stella says. Musa just turns to her and gives her a flat look. So is your outfit. This is a swamp, not a fashion show, for goodness sake. Musa says. What does that have to do with anything? A Winx is always a Winx and freakily IAH. Stella was saying but she suddenly slips and falls off the hill to the ground below. Stella. The other girls yell, they rush to where Stella had fallen to hear her groan. They see covered with mud and sludge. Naruto lands next to her and helps her up. Stella, are you alright? Naruto asks. No. I'm not alright. I'm tired, sweaty, and irritated from all this walking. If we just found those stupid flowers already we could be at home right now. NMMPH. Stella started to go on her rant but get interrupted by Flora when she placed her hand onto her mouth. Shoo. I found something. Flora says. She turns Stella to the lake next to them and points at something in the water. Look. She says. The others follow where she was pointing to and see what she found. It was creatures that looked like miniature mermaids with transparent flaps of skin under their arms. Many of them were purplish or blue in color. What are those? Bloom asks, thinking those creatures were pretty. Those are water undines. They live in or near clear waters in forests and swamps. Flora explains, maybe they could help look for the flow WW. She was saying, only to stop and yelp from pain after Stella bit her hand to let go. Don't do that again. Stella says loudly. The yelp and Stella speaking alter the undines and were starting to flee and hide. Naruto steadily walks to them, holding his hands out. Wait, wait. We're not going to hurt you. We're friendly, well, for the most part, but still. We're not going to hurt you at all. Look, we need your help. My friends and I are looking for this special flower, the cheerful gladiolus. It's in the swamp somewhere and we don't know where it is. Could you please help us? Naruto asks. This stops the undines from fleeing and adopt a thinking pose. They look at them before turning to each other and nod before turning back to our heroes. We don't know where the flower is but perhaps our queen may know, she could help you there. Follow us please. One of the undines says as they float down the lakes with the group following close behind. Afternoon. 15 minutes later. The Winx were following the undines down the steam, with Flora admiring the surroundings. Wow, look at all this plant life. The lilies, the ovaries. The water undines were right to bring us here, maybe we'll find the cheerful gladiolus here. Flora says, she bends to a bed of flowers and smells the petals. Hopefully soon. Stella says, she looks down and spots something under the water, she takes a closer look and gasps, altering the others. What is it, Stella? Flora asks. Look. Stella says, she points to the water and the others look, and to their amazement, they see a whole city made with bubbles and there with houses made on the roots of the plant life in the water. It's a whole mini-city. Incredible. Bloom says, in awe of this. The water undines live under the leaf of a water lily. Flora says. A few undines come up to the surface and look at them. We don't mean to be rude and all, but we appear to have a problem. We can't invite you to our house. You all are rather big. One of the undines says. Naruto crouches a bit toward them. You guys really don't have to do that. It's fine. Naruto says, smiling at them. One more undine pops out of the water and floats up to the group. Yes, but our queen has expressed the wish to meet you, the floating undine says, surprising the Winx. Really? Flora asks, seeing the undine nod. Well then, let's go and meet the queen. She says, with the undine taking them further down the steam. They walk a bit until they reach a miniature throne that pops out of the lake under a tree, revealing a gold-colored undine and her royal guard next to them. Greeting, young ones. I am the queen of the water undines of this swamp. It is a pleasure in meeting you. The gold-colored undines, now known to be the queen, says. The honor is ours, your majesty. Naruto says, doing a polite bow to the queen with Stella following along. The others look at them a bit before copying them. We normally don't get many visitors given that we are small. So it does please us to have you as our guests. Now, I understand that you are searching for the cheerful gladiolus within this swamp. That's right, your highness, we are. We're only here to touch its petal and admire it. So, may we? But of course. I can tell you and this boy have respect for nature and understand its beauty. I can grant you it, but we need your services on a matter at hand. The queen says, gaining the Winx's attention. On what? Musa asks. There is a monster currently threatening us on the daily basis. The queen says. Really? Flora asks, with the queen solemnly nodding. Unfortunately, yes. It lives on that island there to your left. It lives in a cave under the island and it threatens anyone who goes near it. Why don't you all move away to a new place? Bloom asks, a little confused. Because our survival all depends on a plant that only grows on the island. It is called Zilf. With it, we can create a strong and transparent material that we use to manufacture the air bubbles we live in. Without the Zilf, we would be forced to live above water and where the predators wait for us. But this monster has made it difficult to get the Zilf from the island. One of the guards says. We sent one of our own, Luzai's, to the island to retrieve at least one of the Zilfa's leaves, but she hasn't returned for a while now. We believe that the monster has something to do with her disappearance. If things don't change soon, we may soon perish. The queen says. The girls and Naruto look at one another and nod before turning back to the queen. We won't let that come to be, your highness. We'll go and get the Zilf and find Luzai's. That's a promise. Naruto says. He stands up, and flips his cap around before turning to the girls. You girls ready? He asks, cracking his knuckles. The girls stand up and nod. Ready when you are. Bloom says before they yelled, Magic Winx, and transformed into their fairy forms. Naruto looks down at the queen. We'll be back soon, your highness, with the Zlith and Luzai's. Naruto says, with the queen smiling at them. Thank you. The queen says. The girls took off into the air while Naruto followed them, leaping off one tree branch to another as they headed toward the island. While flying, Stella hears something in the water, causing her to stop and look around. "Didn't you guys hear that?" Stella asks, making the others stop and turn to her. "No." Tecna says. "You know guys, I was just thinking. The queen said that this monster was huge, but so were we to her. So, if we avenge things out, that this monster should be medium-sized to us, right?" Stella asks. Naruto descended from the last tree and lands on a log that was on the lake, near the lake with the others. "I don't think would be Naruto was saying, but stops when he sees something emerging from the water. Spotting Naruto pausing and seeing his eyes widen, Stella gets confused. "What? What is it?" Stella asks. The others turn to them and freeze at seeing what was behind Stella. A large shadow begins to cast over Stella, making her turn around to see what was blocking the sun, only to come face to face with a large creature. It had red scaly skin with glowing yellow eyes and its teeth appeared to be pointed. This creature roars loudly, forcing our heroes back a bit while Naruto is sent flying back as well. The girls regain control in the air and huddle together while Naruto skids a bit before standing once again. "Do you think it's gone?" Musa asks, looking around for this monster. "I don't know, but we have to be ready." Naruto says. He holds his hand out and summons his sword, and shifts into his stance, ready and waiting for the monster to appear again. Bloom looks around for the monster to reappear, but when she looks at where Naruto was standing, she was shocked to her core. "And then Naruto!" Bloom yells, making the blonde turn to her. "Yeah?" Naruto asks. He sees her and the others were shocked. Why you're standing on water?" Bloom yells, confusing him. "What?" Naruto says, confused by what Bloom meant. He was standing on the log. He looks down and to his shock and surprise, he wasn't on the log anymore and true to Bloom's words, he was in fact standing on water as if he was standing on a normal floor. "What the dash," he was saying, but he suddenly falls into the water like his feet registered that he wasn't on solid ground or a floating surface. "What the hell? What just happened?" Naruto asks. But just before he could swim and return to the monster pops out again and devours him whole. "Naruto!" The girls yell as the monster quickly goes back into the water, disappearing in it and leaving the girls. They regroup where Naruto was eaten. "What are we going to do?" Musa asks. She was really worried about Naruto. "We have to go into the water and track it down and rescue Naruto." Tecna says. "Yeah, but water isn't our element. How are we going to go down there since our wings aren't built for water and we can't breathe down there?" Stella says. The girls start thinking of a way for them to go down into the water and save Naruto without making their wings wet. Flora snaps her fingers and thought of an idea. "We can use the bubble method that the Undines use for their homes." "Sounds like a good idea to Bloom says, but she gets cut off when large bubbles begin to form from the water and a rumble started below the girls. "What was that?" Stella asks. Before any of them could say or do anything, the monster emerges from the water, roaring with smoke coming from its mouth. The girls were about to attack it when it suddenly roars. RRGH. The monster roars and shot out Naruto, blade in hand, which was on fire, indicating he must have used one of his attacks to escape from its mouth. Naruto soars through the air and hits the water a few times before crashing into it near the island. His body floats up, back facing the sun. "Naruto!" The girls yell. They rush over to him and pull him from the water toward the island, and once they reached land, they set him down. They look over him and notice that he wasn't waking up, or responding. Tecna immediately realizes what was happening. "He's not breathing." Tecna yells. This alters the others and Bloom instantly begins to perform CRP on Naruto. It took a bit and just before Bloom was about to place her mouth onto his mouth. Cough, cough. Naruto coughs out the water and took in some deep breaths which let out the rest of it. He groans and sits up. "Man, that was not fun." Naruto says before he looks over to the girls, "Thanks for the save, girls." He says, smiling. "It's no problem, Naruto." Bloom says, letting out a sigh of relief. "What happened down there?" Musa asks. Naruto lets out a chuckle and points to his sword that was next to him while standing up. "The DMN Sugar tried to swallow me down. I wasn't going to be its dinner, so I stabbed it before it could and decided to turn up the heat. Guess it couldn't handle a little inferno in its gut." Naruto says. He grabs his sword and walks over to the shore and sees the monster back in the water. That should keep it down in the water for a while. He says. He and the girls look around the island. Hopefully not too soon. "So this is the island, huh? Kind of pretty, don't you think?" Stella says. "Since we're here, let's go and find the Zilf and maybe find Luzai's." Bloom says. "Good idea." Musa says. The group starts their journey through the island in search of the two goals. While walking, they all started to feel tired and sleepy. Bloom looks over to their left and sees a group of trees together. "Flora, Naruto, do you know what plants are these trees?" Bloom asks. The two plant expects yawn and looks over at the trees. "They look like red willows." Flora says. Suddenly, she and Naruto stop walking as their eyes widen in realization. "Red willows, oh no, this isn't good." Naruto utters before taking a deep breath and pulls out his headband from his pocket and handing it to Flora, who takes it and ties it around her mouth. What's wrong?" Bloom asks, letting out a yawn. Naruto just grabs her and Tenka's wrists and start running toward the center of the island with Flora. She grabbed Musa and Stella, who fell to sleep, and followed behind. Once they reach the center, they see a big withered willow tree with 3 yellow eyes and a mouth full of pointed teeth, and it was the only willow to be red in color in the area. Naruto lets out his breath and turns to Bloom as she was about to fall asleep. "Yeah, these are red willows." And they let out a gasp that causes those around them to sleep. Deep sleep if they are exposed to the gas for long periods. Naruto says. He takes a quick breath before turning to Tekna. "Tekna, can you quickly create a barrier around us to block out the gas?" He asks. He starts to feel the sleepiness take over. Tekna nods and conjures a dome around them. Once the dome was set, the gas had left and the sleeping girls began to wake up. What happened?" Musa asks, rubbing her eyes. Naruto chuckles and goes to help her up, Flora and Tekna doing the same as the others. "You're still on the island in Black Mud Swamp. You girls fell asleep. The gas knocked you out. Thankfully me and Flora reacted fast enough to find the leader of the willows and got the gas away." Naruto says. Flora takes off the headband and was about to hand it to Naruto when she spots someone at the bottom of the tree. "Hey, look. At the bottom of the tree." Flora says, pointing toward the tree, and the others see an Undine laying there, asleep. "I think that's Luzai's," she says. "It looks like she's been there for a while. If she stays there any longer, she will be asleep forever." Naruto says. "We need to make this bubble bigger to get to her and get the gas away. You girls wanna help?" Tekna asks, with the other girls nodding. They get ready and push their magic into the dome barrier, enlarging it further around the area while pushing the gas out of it. Moments later, the dome reaches the base of the leader Willow and Luzai's. She twitches a bit before she starts to wake up. The group heads toward her. "You're Luzai's, right?" Naruto asks, crouching down to her. "Yes, but how did you know my name?" Luzai's asks. "Your queen told us that you volunteered to go and search for the Zilf, but you never returned." Bloom says. Luzai's adopts a thinking pose as she tries to remember everything. "Yes, I remember now. I did go and search for the Zilf, but when I arrived on the island, I fell sleepy and fell right to sleep before I could leave." Luzai says when suddenly, the island begins to shake. "What the?" Musa says as they were fighting against the shaking to keep their balance. "The monster. It's coming back." Stella yells, Luz Eyes floats up to them and shakes her head. No, no, do not worry. The monster isn't coming, it's already here. Luz Eyes says, confusing our heroes with what she said. I'm not following. Naruto says. See, I fell asleep, I discovered something about this island. The island we are currently on isn't an actual island. It's the monster's shell. It is a giant sleeping/sleepwalking turtle. Louise Eyes says, surprising the Winx. It's a turtle? Musa asks, Luz Eyes nods. Yes, it is. And thanks to the red willow tree that is causing the turtle to be in a constant sleep, and it has made it to sleepwalk and unknowingly attack anything that is near it. Luz Eyes says. And the rumbling we just felt was it moving around. Tekna says. Yes, the poor thing has been sleepwalking for perhaps eons. And with the red willows constantly releasing their gas, it will never awaken. Luz Eyes says. How do we stop this and wake it up? Musa asks. The only way would be to destroy the leader, Red Willow. Doing that would cause the others to perish as well. Luz Eyes says, Naruto stands up and faces the tree. Bloom, Flora. We need to uproot and burn this tree. Naruto says, equipping his katana once again. Bloom and Flora nod and they got ready to destroy the tree, but before they could start, the tree roars and starts attacking them with its vines. The vines break through the dome, forcing the girls to leap back while Naruto blocks them with his katana before cutting them in pieces and leaps back. Once they got away, they see the vines start to grow back at a rapid rate. It's gone crazy. Luz Eyes says, but Flora shakes her head. No, it hurt us and is now trying to stop us from destroying it. Flora says the tree attacks them again by attempting to swat them, which our heroes could barely avoid. Bloom turns to the tree, glaring at it as she starts to gather her fire in her hand. Pick on someone your size. Fireball. Bloom yells, firing a ball of fire at the tree, hitting it and causing it to burn on impact. Once the flames had dissipated, the group saw the tree begin to heal itself. That did nothing. She says, shocked to see her fire had no effect on the tree. Flora looks at the tree and notices a large portion of its bark was covered with its roots, and she realizes something. No, we have to attack it by its roots. I'll try using a spell that'll uproot it. Naruto, you'll cut it in half, and Bloom, you finish it off by burning again with your spell. Flora says, the two nod. Flora slams her hands down to the floor and pours her magic into it, summoning green vines and making them wrap around the willow. The willow tries to fight the vines off it, but anything it did wasn't working. Flora lifts her hands up and the vines uproot the willow from its place as she lifts it into the air. Naruto rushes to it and jumps at it and cuts right through it, cutting it in half. Flora lets her spell go and on time too as Bloom fires her fire at the two cut willow tree parts, setting them ablaze and destroying it forever. We did it. The two girls cheer, high-fiving one another as Naruto lands on the ground and smirks. Yep, that's another win for us Winx. Naruto says, throwing his sword in the air as it dissipates back into his rune seal. Do you all hear that? Luz Eyes asks. The others listen and hear birds chirping and life around was beginning to return. Nature has begun to awake once more. She says. Yeah. The group says, taking in the sounds of nature. Then, another rumbling went off again, but it wasn't as violent as before and was quicker than the last one. I think we should get off the big turtle's shell before he wakes up. Stella suggests. Not before doing this. Naruto says. He walks over to where the willow was and picks something there. He turns around and the others see that he had the Zilf. Luz Eyes yells, seeing the plant in Naruto's hands. Looks like the red willow was jealous of its beauty and decided to hide it. Naruto says. Now we can head back to the village with it in hand. Luz Eyes says. Afternoon. We see the Winx had returned to the Undine village. With the Zilf as they were standing in front of the queen, the girls reverted back to their civilian clothes. They see the queen and her royal guards hugging Lu's eyes with happiness, seeing she was fine and back. You've brought back our sweet Lu's eyes back and the Zilf, and you've freed us from fear and anxiety. I cannot thank you all enough for this great service. The queen says, still hugging Lu's eyes, who returns it. Yeah, speaking of which. What's going to happen to the monster, I mean turtle? Stella asks, correcting herself. Why, look over at the lake. The queen says, pointing to the lake. The Winx turn and see the turtle moving away from the area, slowly but surely. It looks to be leaving this place, now that it's been freed from its prison. She says, but Bloom got confused. But I thought the plant only grew on the turtle's shell. Bloom asks, the queen nods. Yes, it does. With the plant, you've collected the Zilf. We are able to create more of our homes for a while with its leaves, but once they run out, we'll be in trouble. We cannot grow in our soil, it's too damp for anything to properly grow. The queen says with a grim expression. Knowing that her kingdom will soon perish if they don't do something to prevent it. The group was sad hearing this, as there was nothing they could do to help the Undines in this predicament. That was when Flora realizes something that could help in this. Wait, I have the solution. Flora says. She pulls to her bag and starts going there until she pulls out her potion bottle from earlier. What is that? The queen asks, seeing the bottle in Flora's hand. This is my rapid grow potion. And with it, I can do this. Flora says. She takes the cap off of the potion and lets one drop of it hit one of the leaves of the Zilf. When it did, more leaves begin to sprout from it, surprising the Undines as they cheer. Marvelous. We are saved. The queen says, happy in seeing more leaves than ever in her life. She looks up to our heroes. We cannot thank you enough. She says. It was nothing, your highness, even Mother Nature needs a helping hand, or in this case, a boost. Flora. Still, we can't thank you enough. So, please allow us to give you this as a token of our gratitude. The queen says. Her subjects bring out something that surprises the group. The cheerful gladiolus. Flora utters, seeing the purple flower being brought to her. But how? I thought they didn't want to be picked. Stella asks, remembering what Flora told them earlier at the campsite. It let itself be picked to go with you. It knows that you will take good care of it. The queen says. As soon as I get home, I'll pick it in the richest soil available. Flora says, gently picking the flower up and looking at it before looking back to the queen. And I promise to come back and rejuvenate the land here for you to grow more of the Zilf once I reach enough power and learn the right spell to do it. Flora says, with the queen smiling and nodding to her. We will be forever grateful for that. I hope to see you all soon. The queen says. Our heroes wave goodbye to the Undines as they start heading back to the campsite. Now that we've got the cheerful gladiolus, I'm ready for my mid-exam tomorrow. Flora says. She turns to the girls, and don't worry guys, Naruto said he knows a place where I can put my plants so they can grow, so you don't have to let me use your rooms anymore. She says, causing Stella to let out a sigh of relief. Finally. Now we can leave this icky place and get back to our comfortable dorms and relax. Stella says, happy that she can finally leave this place. Yes, we can, after we go and get our stuff first. Naruto says. As they walk, Flora remembers something. She turns to Stella. Stella. Flora calls the princess. Yes. Stella says. You do realize that your test is after mine, right? Flora says, causing Stella to start to panic as she remembers now. CRP. Really, I haven't studied yet. I've got to get home now. I'll see you guys later. Stella yells. She quickly transforms into her fairy form and jets out of the swamp back to Alfea. Causing the others to at her misfortune. Naruto's cave. Alfea, Magix. Evening. And there, that should do it. Naruto says, placing the last plant onto the floor in his garage hangar in his cave. He and Flora had been busy moving most of her plants from her dorm to his cave. The others decided to go to bed early. Thanks for letting me use your cave as a place to store my plants for now, Naruto. Flora says. Naruto just smiles and waves her off. Ah, it's no problem. After your test, we can go to my spot and plant them there. Naruto says. He stretches a bit while looking at a clock on the wall and saw it was getting late. Well, you should probably start heading back to your room. You've got to rest for your exam tomorrow. Naruto says. Flora sees the clock. Yeah, you're right. Flora says. She and Naruto walk to this door and she steps out of the cave and into the tunnel. She turns to Naruto and sees him smile at her. Well, guess I'll see you later. Good luck tomorrow, I know you'll pass with flying colors. Naruto says. Flora looks down and nods, holding the hilt of her skirt. Well, I'll see you tomorrow. Naruto yawns. He was about to close the door when Flora makes her. And Naruto. Yeah. Naruto says, expecting her to say something. But he didn't expect Flora to give him a sudden kiss on his cheek. He looks stunned by this as he turns to Flora, seeing her had a massive bush on her face and was looking away. That was a thank you for your help today, and for earlier when we were alone. Flora stutters. Naruto remembers what she's talking about and he slowly nods. Why yeah. Naruto stutters. The two don't say a word or look at one another for a bit, not knowing what to do or say after what had just happened, but knowing that it was getting late and they had things to do tomorrow, they look up to one another and say. Night. Naruto says. Night. Flora says, and with that, she leaves. Naruto closes his door and turns around, only to slide off the door and sit on the floor, looking at his ceiling as he had a big blush creeping to his face. Not being able to process what just happened. Down the tunnel, Flora had stopped walking and was leaning on the stone wall, taking deep breaths while having her hand on her chest, where her heart was. She goes to her pocket and pulls out her glasses. She stares at them for a bit as she remembers what Naruto said to her about her wearing them. Unknowingly letting a sheepish, yet happy smile, Flora puts on her glasses and steadily walks down the tunnel back to her dorm, ready to go and do some reading before heading to bed. Faragonda's office. Alfea, Magix. Afternoon. Another glorious sunny day in Magix as the midterms exams were still underway as Naruto and Hank had finally finished fixing the simulator. While the students of Alfea were doing said exams, the secret human student of Alfea was busy in the dean with the dean herself as the two were having a conversation. And by conversation, I mean they were having some quality time together. So, Naruto. How are your exams going? Faragonda asks. She and Naruto were by her balcony, having some tea and snacks. Naruto smiles as he takes a bite of a biscuit. Oh, they're going great. I did my swordsmanship exam yesterday and it went great. Hank said that I've got better from last year and I haven't cut myself this time even. Naruto says, enthusiastically. While Naruto couldn't do the same exams as the others, given his conditions, he was allowed to do exams similar to those done at Red Fountain. These exams include swordsmanship skill and battle IQ, rune writing and reading, spell breakdown, and of course the regular normal exams. The one supervising the swordsmanship exam was Hank. He strangely knew a thing or two about fighting with a sword, and when Naruto asked him how he knows, Warlock just ignores the question. The rest are supervised by the staff of Alfea in secret, away from the other students. Faragonda nods, happy to hear that. I see. That is great news. Faragonda says. She takes a sip of her tea while Naruto does the same. She then thinks of something and looks at Naruto, and, how are things going with you and the girls? She asks. This causes Naruto to nearly spit out his tea and choke on it, but he saves himself. He takes in some breaths to calm down before answer. Oh, things are going great with them, Granny. Really? Naruto says, blushing as he remembers what happened with Flora a few nights ago. Faragonda sees how giddy he got when she mentioned the girls, and the blush he had wasn't helping his case. Did something happen? Faragonda asks. No. Naruto quickly says but sees Faragonda was still looking at him and knew she wasn't going to let this go until he speaks. Sighing, he decides to speak. Okay, normally things are great with the girls, but a few days ago, the girls got into an argument with Flora about her flowers and how it was disturbing them. She moved them out and was going to put them in Black Mud Swamp. Naruto says. Black Mud Swamp, by herself? Faragonda asks, knowing how dangerous that swamp was for a first-year student. Yeah, I know. Which is why I went along with her, as a way of protecting her. The girls tracked us down shortly after we set things up and we then began searching for the cheerful gladiolus, a flower she needed for her exam. We searched for a few hours but instead of finding the flower, we found a kingdom of nymphs by the lake. Naruto says, gaining Faragonda's attention. Nymphs? The little creatures who live in water. Faragonda asks, Naruto nods. Yeah, they asked us to help them find a plant called the Zilth and also a missing nymph that went to look for the plant but never returned. Naruto says, Faragonda nods, and lets him continue. We went to the lake to look for it. The girls were flying while I was using a log to float and stand while in the water, but a giant red turtle came out of the water and knocked us back a bit with its roar. It ate me when I fell into the water, but before the sucker could swallow me, I used my fire art attack and burned his insides. It coughed me out but I fell unconscious and the girls rescued me. We made it onto the turtle's shell and we discovered there were red willow trees growing on it and me and Flora acted fast before their gas would knock us out and we found the leader and the missing nymph. We took care of the red willow and found the plant and saved the nymphs when Flora used one of her potions to create more of the plant's leaves for them to use. We got back and I let Flora put her plants in my room for the time being as I can take her to my garden and will plant them there after she's done with her exam. He says. Well, that is sweet of you to do for her. Faragonda says, smiling as Naruto gets sheepish. Yeah, it's the least I could do for her. Naruto says, rubbing his neck, but he stops as he remembers something that happened that day, but, something happened while we were at the lake. He says, causing Faragonda to look at him. Such as? Faragonda asks, raising her eyebrow. When we were making our way to the turtle's shell and the turtle knocked us back, I was still standing after it did but, Bloom screamed and made me look down and we all saw that I wasn't on the log anymore and I was, standing on the water. Just like how if I was standing on solid ground. Naruto says, Faragonda's eyes widen at hearing this. What? How did that happen? Faragonda asks but Naruto just shrugs. I don't know. It just happened. I did feel something from my body while it was happening. Naruto says, gaining Faragonda's utter attention. What was it? Faragonda asks. It felt, weird yet familiar like my body knew what to do when I landed on the water. It reacted on its own. Only when I saw that I was standing on the water did it stop, like my body finally registered I wasn't on the ground, Naruto says. Faragonda places her hands together and thinks. I see. Faragonda says, silently before looking up at him, have you tried to recreate this? She asks and Naruto shakes his head. No, I haven't. I've been putting it off. To focus on my exams. Naruto says. I see. Faragonda says, she and Naruto sat there in silence as she was thinking about this new information while Naruto sat there, feeling a bit nervous as nothing happens until a phone rang on the table. Naruto looks down and sees it was his and saw Bloom was the one calling. He picks the phone up and answers it. Bloom. What's up? No, I haven't seen Stella, why do you ask? She missed her exam. What do you mean she wasn't at the infirmary? Do you think she got kidnapped again? Alright, I'm on my way to your dorm. I'll see you in a bit. Naruto says before dropping the call. He looks at Faragonda and stands up. Sorry about this, Granny, but I have to go. Bloom needs me to look for Stella. She went missing. Naruto says, but Faragonda smiles and waves him off. It's alright, dear. You go and help look for your friend. Faragonda says. Naruto nods and heads toward the bookshelf and pulls a book out to open the door to the tunnel system. He waves goodbye to Faragonda, who does the same as he enters the tunnel, and the bookshelf door closes behind him. Once it had closed, Faragonda lets out a sigh and turns to the window of her office, and looks at the sky as she starts thinking about what Naruto had told her. Standing on water? That's impossible, unless, could it be that Naruto used the energy pools within him subconsciously to stand? Too many things to think of and so little time. Faragonda thought as she lets out another sigh. She takes off her glasses and runs her eyes as if this was something she wasn't expecting. She knew she had to tell the rest of the staff about this in case this happens again. She then thought about a bad feeling she had been getting since the year had begun, and she felt it could involve Naruto. I hope I can find an answer. So, with Bloom searching for Daphne the nymph and now this with Naruto. It's only a matter of time before things turn for the worse, and I don't want to see the worst case flourish with Naruto being taken and used for something sinister. I just pray to the great dragon that never happens. She thought. She looks out to the sky a bit more until she stops as she goes to her desk to prepare for a meeting with the staff regarding this matter. Lounge area, Winx dorm, Althea Magix. We turn things to the Winx as we see Flora, Musa, and Tecna in the lounge area of their doing, relaxing as they had just finished their exams. The hatch in the floor opens up and out pops Naruto. What's up, girls? Naruto greets the girls, who turn to him. Hi, Naruto / hello Naruto / greeting Naruto. The three greet him while Flora had a small blush appearing on her face. Naruto closes the hatch and looks around and sees Bloom wasn't there. Where's Stella? Bloom said that she wasn't in class. Naruto says. The door behind him opens and in steps Bloom, looking a bit confused. She wasn't. And she wasn't in the infirmary either. Bloom says, gaining everyone's attention. Why? What did she have to do there? Naruto asks. She told me that she was feeling sick in the morning today before we left for class and said she'd stop by the infirmary, but when I got there, said that I was the first one there today. Meaning that Stella never went there and was never sick. Meaning she chose to skip Palladium's class. Bloom says, surprising those there. I wonder why she's acting like this. The exam wasn't even that hard. Flora says, and Musa agrees with her. Yeah, I mean we all did and aced it. What is she afraid of anyway? Musa asks. Naruto shrugs. Maybe some stage fright. Naruto says. Whatever it may be, running away isn't going to get her anywhere. Sooner or later, she's going to have to take the simulator exam, just like the rest of us did. Tecna says. So, what happened to her anyway? Naruto asks as Bloom shrugs her shoulders. I don't know. I looked around the garden and the library and she wasn't there. I figured I'd find her here with her nose in a book. Bloom says. She walks over to Stella's room and opens the door to find the room littered with various types and amounts of clothes. She's not here, but, what's that smell? Smells great. She says, smelling something nice in the room. It's Infinite Sunset, it's my new perfume. Glad you like it. A voice says behind the red hair, making Bloom turn and see Stella standing by her door, but she looked different today. She was wearing a red-violet colored, backless, halter top that cuts just above her navel along with a light blue mini skirt. She wore lilac wedge sandals, a lilac belt, a blue cuff bracelet, and a blue headband for accessories. She walks into the room and starts looking through her closet. Stella, you don't look sick at all. Care to explain? Bloom asks, crossing her arms. Stella, where have you been? Naruto asks. Oh, I had some stuff for later. Stella says in an uppity tone. Such as? Flora asks. She and the others enter the room to see what was going on. Oh, I had to get ready for this year's Miss Magix beauty pageant. Stella says, getting Bloom's attention. Miss Magix? What's that? Bloom asks. Stella points at her wall and the others see a poster taped onto it. It's an annual beauty competition that is held in the city to determine who is the most appealing and talented young in the Magix universe, and this year I'm dead set on coming first place. Stella says with a fire of determination. She spots a dress in the closet and starts changing into it. Stella, don't you think it's a little irresponsible to do something like this at a time like this? Naruto asks. He had turned his head the moment he saw Stella grab her top and turn to the window to avoid seeing her change. He's right. You should be focusing on your school work instead of a beauty pageant. You're way behind from the rest of us and you could get kicked out if you end up failing. Tekna says, crossing her arms. Stella had finished changing and was now in a midnight blue, single-shoulder, mini dress with a pink brooch attached with a dark blue sash on the right strap. She also wore matching midnight blue heels and a headband. Oh please, don't let me down. I really need all your support, guys. Still says, this is something that's incredibly important to me. I promise I'll study all night for my exam. Please, pretty please. She says as she gives the others the puppy eyes. While Naruto wasn't affected by it, due to him stilling looking out the window and not seeing the puppy eyes, the others saw it and knew Stella won't give up on this, so they sigh. Fine, but this is the last time and you promise you'll study all night for your exam. Bloom says, giving Stella a stern look. The other girls nod in agreement. The blonde princess herself beams and smiles. Yes. Yes, I will. Oh, thank you. Stella cheers, hugging Bloom. Oh, you guys are going to have fun tonight. That I promise. She says. I hope so, since that would be a first. Tekna says, picking up a piece of clothing. Yeah, considering that every time we are in the city, we run into the Trix. Flora says, remembering the 2 times they've had met with the Trix and what it led to. Relax guys, I know from a reliable source that we won't meet those nasty witches tonight. It's a beauty pageant. What witch would go to a beauty pageant? Stella asks, and the girls thought about it and found that it made sense for no witch to be near a pageant. Is it safe for me to turn around now? The girls turn and see Naruto was still looking out the window and they realize why he did it. Oh, what a gentleman. Yeah, it's safe. Stella says, smiling at Naruto's matters. Now come on, we've got some time to get things ready before we head out. She yells, and the Winx begin to prepare for their trip to Magix. Unfortunately, Stella's source would be wrong since other events were happening at the same time. A dorm room, Cloud Tower, Magix. Afternoon. Right around the same time. We find 2 first-year witches in their shared dorm, as they were discussing the Miss Magix pageant, with one of them trying to convince her friend not to do something in it. Come on Mirda, the Trix could totally help me win the Miss Magix contest. Lucy says, assuring her friend of this. But Lucy, think about it. This is a beauty contest where magic is prohibited. You can't ask Icy, Darcy, and Stormy to help you with the trick. It's not right. It could be even dangerous. Mirda replies, knowing this would lead to bad things and knowing how dangerous the Trix really were. But listen, I want to take part in that contest and I want to win it. So what if I can't use magic? Icy, Darcy, and Stormy are so powerful, they can do anything. They're literally the most powerful students in this school, if not counting Miss Griffin. For them, it'll be a no-brainer to turn me into a stunning beauty queen. Lucy says, imagining her winning the pageant, but realizes something, even if the real me could never win such a contest. She says, looking down at herself and seeing how she looked. Lucy didn't say a thing as she was concerned for her friend. But everyone will be looking at me, Mirda. For once, I'll be the center of attention instead of the laughing stock. Don't you understand, I need this. Lucy says, still intent on asking the Trix for help. But Mirda still felt this was wrong. No, I don't. You don't need to be someone else to be popular. You need dash, Mirda was saying, but her words were the wrong ones to use as they angered Lucy. Oh, get lost. I know what I don't need. And I don't need you trying to ruin this for me. Don't come to the contest, I don't want to say for your face. She yells, slamming the door on her way out. Lucy flinches at the slam as she looks down to the floor and her eyes begin to water. Lucy. Mirda mummers, worried that her friend was about to make the worst decision of her life. Performance Center Magix. Night. A few hours later. It was night time and the Winx were heading toward the performance center where the contest was being held. I already know how this is going to end. Flora says. In a ball of dresses, makeup, and flames. Tekna jokingly asks. Oh, don't be such wet blankets, you guys. Everything will be fine. Stella says. Come on, let's get this over with. We shouldn't be out this late. Bloom says as Naruto nods. He was carrying the bags of outfits and makeup. Yeah, since with the exams underway. Auntie beefed up the night patrols. If we don't hurry up, we'll be in much worse trouble than last time. Naruto says, knowing that Griselda would catch them if they did, hurry. Hearing this made the girls rush into the center to get things ready, but they missed 3 witches entering the center after them. Moments later. Within the center. Ready for the show? Darcy asks. She and her friends were walking down a hall in the center, all looking bored. Are you kidding? I still don't understand what we're doing in a place as disgusting as this. Stormy says, cringing at how the participants looked. It doesn't matter now. Icy says, she stops in the hall, making the others stop as well. Sisters, we are here this evening to do a good deed. She says. Huh? The two utter, confused about what was Icy talking about. You remember Lucy, that little first year. She asked if I could help her win the beauty contest. Icy says, the two do remember Lucy and laugh at how ridiculous it sounded. She's got bats in the belfry. Darcy says, twiddling her finger by her head. She doesn't need us to win. She needs a miracle. Stormy says, making her and the rest laugh, knowing how Lucy looked. I know, but it'll be fun to mess with her. You'll see. Icy says, gaining her sister's attention. So, what do you have in mind? Darcy asks. Well, she wants the competition, right? She wants to be this year's Miss Magix. And we'll make sure she is, and when she is praised by the audience, we'll expose her in front of them all. Icy says. How so? Stormy asks. We'll cast a spell that'll make her irresistible and then, we'll break it as soon as she's crowned Miss Magix. She'll be totally humiliated, right there at center stage. Icy says, darkly grinning, and the others copy the grin. Wow, Icy, that's downright evil. I love it. Darcy says, licking her lips. And that'll make our evening. Good thinking, sis. Stormy says. I always have good ideas. And, enough talk. Let's get to work. Icy says, the trio resume their walk and find Lucy leaning by a wall, waiting for them. Lucy, are you ready? She asks, making Lucy turn to her and nod. Yes, I am. Lucy says, and with that, the Trix begin to cast their spell onto her. In a dressing room within the center. How about this one? Stella asks, showing off an outfit. While waiting for the pageant to start, Stella was busy trying on some outfits to wear for it. She was wearing one of them and showing it to Bloom and Tekna. She wore a short-sleeved, mint green, top, and a frilly, lilac-colored, mini skirt. Over the top, she wears a light pink, halter neck, top with 2 zigzag straps attached at the bottom quite similar to Stormy's civilian outfit. On her feet, she wore lilac high heel wedges and a lilac headband in her hair. Stella, you have to wear the same outfit as everybody else. Bloom says. That's the rule. Tekna says she was reading the rules and regulations of the contest, making sure that they weren't cheating. I know, but I really want to stand out. Stella says, feeling a bit disappointed. The door opens and Flora and Musa walk in. Stella, we've brought everything you need to win. Yep, starting with soft and relaxing music to allow the facial muscles to loosen up and relax. Musa says, blasting a bit of her magic at a jukebox, making it start to play music. And then it's oil from arabidula and leaves of Ranko ficus. Flora says, bringing out a bottle of her homemade makeup. And what does it do? Stella asks. It's designed to really make your skin more lively and fresh. Flora says. Well, whatever means of torture you deem is useful. I approve it as long as I become the new Miss Magix. Stella says, she summons a chair and sits on it, allowing Musa and Flora to get to work on her. You will have the smoothest skin in the whole universe. Flora says while applying the oil. And your hair will be like golden silk. Musa says as she starts working on Stella's hair. I hope so. Stella says, she sits for a bit until she realizes something. Say, where is Naruto? She asks, now seeing the male blonde wasn't there. He said he had to get something at his workplace really quick. He said he'd be back before the show started. Bloom says. Oh, okay. Stella says, letting Flora and Musa continue to apply her makeup. With Naruto. Naruto had just entered the backstage and was heading to Stella's dressing room. He had something in his hand as he chuckles. Hope Hank doesn't mind me borrowing this for tonight. This will defiantly help us keep Stella in one place. Naruto thought, knowing that this little item he brought would come in handy later. He walks down the hall a bit until he starts to hear crying. He looks and sees 2 girls, with one of them girl bellowing her eyes out as she had puffed out hair. What the hell? Naruto thought. He approaches the girls. Hey, are you okay? Naruto asks, making the girls turn to him. No, we've got a catastrophe happened. One girl says. I don't know. Look at what happened to my hair. The girl cries, pointing to her puffed out hair. Normally it's straight. I was just walking down the hall when it suddenly poof and my whole head of hair puffed up just like that. She says as she resumes her crying. Naruto felt bad for her and was trying to find the right words to encourage her that things were going to be okay, but the 3 hear a gasp behind and they turn and see the Winx peeking their heads out and looking at them. Stella notices the girl with the puffed out hair. What is that? Stella asks. Her question causes the distorted girl to cry even more and run away as Naruto just facepalms. Great. Naruto moans, knowing that this was going to be a long night. Suddenly, he senses the presences of dark activate magic. He looks around, trying to figure out where was it coming from, but it disappeared before he could pinpoint it. What was that? Naruto thought, looking around for the source. He was brought out of his thoughts when he felt someone grab his shoulder. Hey, Naruto. Bloom calls to him, making him turn to her. Are you okay? She asks. Why yeah, I'm fine. Just, felt something. Naruto says. Really? What was it? Bloom asks. Don't know. Naruto says, but he looks around one more time. But I have a weird feeling about something. Something not good. Naruto thought as the 2 head back to the dressing room to get Stella ready for the pageant. 1 hour later. An hour passed and the Miss Magix contest had finally started. An announcer walks onto the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, a warm and magical welcome to this year's edition of the one and only Miss Magix pageant. The announcer says, as the crown clap. Tonight, 15 appealing young women will battle for the title. We all know the rules: no magic. All curses and spells are strictly prohibited and will lead to instant disqualification. This contest is a celebration of natural beauty. What could be more enchanting, ladies and gentlemen? The announcer says, using dramatic poses and gestures while speaking. The rest of the Winx were backstage, watching the announcer go off. This dude is really overly dramatic. Naruto says, arms crossed as he was seeing how this guy was overdoing it on the dramatics. Yeah. The girl could help but agree with Naruto. And now, here they are. Number 1, Miss Loney, number 2, Miss Heidi, number 3, Miss Lesta, number 4, Miss Agwin, number 5, Miss Bera, number 6, Miss Stella. The announcer was calling out each girl by their number, and when Stella walked out, she looked stunning. She wore the same thing as everyone else. She wore a light pink, one-piece, bodysuit with a transparent darker pink skirt on top. She had a white brooch with the number 6 on it attached to her bodysuit and light pink high heels. Her hair is in a high ponytail, and it is decorated with light purple ribbons. She winks at the crowd as the girls and Naruto cheer and whistle at the back. Number 7, Miss Loana, number 8, Miss Karen, number 9, Miss Subata, number 10, Miss Lucy. The announcer calls out the rest, but when he calls out Lucy, she looked like a whole different person. Her hair was longer and smoother, with chickly cut bangs, all while retaining its greenish tint. Her face became appealing and her eyes were blue under a thick fringe of lashes. Her contestant outfit was the same light pink, one-piece, bodysuit with the transparent darker pink skirt on top and the brooch with the number 10 on it. She had on light pink high heels. The crowd reacted differently to her than to the others, all were amazed and enchanted at how appealing she looked. In the crowd, the Trix were watching this in the back and smirked as they see Lucy walk out. Ladies, we have created a masterpiece. Icy says, feeling pro. DMN, that girl's hot. Naruto says, causing the girls with him to look at him. Naruto. The girls yell, especially Musa, Flora, and Bloom as they gave him a stern look. What? Can't I say the truth? The girl's hot just like everyone is, including Stella. But. Naruto says but stops, placing his finger on his chin. But what? Bloom asks. Naruto looks at Lucy and narrows his eyes. Something's off with her. Something about her doesn't seem right. Naruto says, continuing to look at Lucy with a suspicious look. Number 11, Miss Robin, number 12, Miss Nami, number 13, Miss Nikki, number 14, Miss Nexus, and number 15, Miss Nadia. The announcer says with the last girl coming out and all of the contestants were standing in a line in the middle of the stage. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Let's give our contestants a warm round of applause. The announcer says with the crowd clapping to the girl as they all start to walk backstage. Backstage. Did you hear the audience's reaction when number 10 came out? Oh, now I'll never win. Stella says, she had met up with the group to discuss Lucy. Stella, it's just a game. Bloom says, she can never understand why was Stella being so childish. Yeah, but where's the fun if I don't win? Stella asks, pouting. Isn't the fun where you can say, I participated? Musa asks. Bloom turns to Naruto, who still had a serious look as he thought about Lucy. You still think there's something wrong with that girl? Bloom asks and Naruto nods. Yeah. Naruto says. Suddenly the door opens behind them with Lucy walks out. Bloom decides to show some sportsmanship and approaches Lucy. Hey, congratulations. The crowd really likes you a lot. Bloom says, but Lucy just huffs and walks away. What a strange and rude reaction. Bloom says, feeling offended. Naruto narrows his eyes at where Lucy had walked off to as he knew something was up. Okay, now there's something going on here. And I think that dark magic presence I felt earlier has something to do with this. Naruto thought. The contestant must also be polite and show some class. Stella shouts, ticked at how Lucy was acting toward her friends. Flora walks over to the princess and places her hand on her shoulder. Calm down, Stella. Now's not the time to freak out. You have to focus. Flora says, she was able in calming down Stella enough to listen. Flora's right. You have to get ready for the first event. Tekna says. Stella takes in some deep breaths as she finally calms down. Alright. I'm fine now. Stella says as she turns to them, let's go and get things ready for the talent event. She says. You girls go on. I need to go and get a drink. I'll catch up. Naruto says, the girls nod and they leave to the dressing room to get Stella ready. Once the girls had left, Naruto went in the direction where Lucy had gone to. He walks down a hall, passes a few doors, and reaches a corner. He was about to turn it when he hears people talking. Mirda, I told you not to come here. Naruto hears someone speak, causing him to stop and hide by the corner. He peeks his head from it and sees Lucy speaking with a ginger-haired girl he has never seen before. I know you did and I'm sorry for not listening to you, but I couldn't just stay at school, knowing my friend was making a bad decision. The girl says, looking worried as Lucy scoffs. A bad decision? How can this be a bad decision? Did you hear the crowd when I walked out? They loved me, they loved me. I finally get the praise I've been waiting for and now you're trying to ruin it for me. Lucy says, scowling at the girl, but she shakes her head. I'm not trying to ruin things for you. I'm trying to stop you from something bad happening. We both know how they are. You shouldn't trust them. The girl says, shocking Naruto at what she said. The Trix? They're involved in this. Naruto thought. As I said before, the Trix are powerful and they can do anything. I mean, look at me. I'm stunning, they made me like this to compete. Lucy says. So that's why I felt dark magic. The Trix used magic on Lucy to make her look like that. She's cheating. Naruto thought, clenching his fist at this. But this isn't you. This isn't the real you. The girl says. Lucy looks at her hands before clenching them as she looks up at the girl again. I know. But I'm not going to quit until I win. No one going to stop me from being crowned Miss Magix. Lucy says, she turns around and opens the door to her dressing room. She enters and was about to close the door but speaks one more time, I think you should leave Mirda. You're not welcome here. She says, the girl, Mirda was trying to say something. But dash. Leave. Lucy screams, cutting Mirda off while scaring her. Mirda looks down. Okay. Mirda says as she starts to leave. Lucy looks at her a bit before she closes the door. Mirda walks down the hall and turns the corner but she bumps into someone. She looks up and sees Naruto. Sorry. Mirda apologizes. It's cool. Naruto says. Mirda nods and walks away, leaving Naruto in the hall as he sighs and runs his hand through his hair. So the Trix are here. Great. And knowing them, they'll try to cause havoc during the pageant. I've got to track them down in the crowd and confront them. Naruto thought, making his decision. He leaves the hall and head toward the dressing room to see how were things going with the girls. 1 hour later. The talent portion of the contest had gone on, but true to Naruto's words, most of the contestants had messed up their performances in some way. Naruto had felt the source of it all and he finally pinpointed where it was coming from. When Lucy's performance, her ballerina act was the only one that had gone unhindered, much to her joy as the crowd went wild for her dance, even the other girls, both the contestants and Winx, clapped for her. Naruto did not, seeing that it wasn't all her. And it was Stella's turn. For her performance, Stella had changed into a dark orange, short-sleeved, jumper with a dark teal shirt on top. The shirt is tied up in the front, and it exposes her midriff. She also wore dark orange bell-bottoms with a brown belt on top. Her shoes were brown boots with white high heels. On her head, she wears a purple headband, but it was currently blocked as she was sporting a brown cowboy-style hat. She started to perform a dance she dubbed, Happy Dance, a dance styled and based on how cowboys danced in the olden days. The Trix were shocked as Stella's dancing was actually good and was winning the crowd off, so they decided to try and sabotage it. Thankfully, Stella had unintentionally dodged all the sabotage attempts, making her able to finish her performance with success. The crowd cheered for her and so did her friends, making her happy. The announcer went up to her. "That was a wonderful dance, Miss Stella. Can we have a few comments from you?" The announcer asks with Stella nodding. Unaware that Darcy had placed one last trick on Stella, hoping that this would ruin her chances. Stnemek roi ruzna ot ipa VERYYYY iltalaspe. Ha. Stella speaks but her words just came out as gibberish. This causes the girls and Naruto to just sacred about how would the judges react, but fortunately for them, the announcer understood her. Of course, she can speak backward. The announcer says, making Stella just go along with it and nod. She said, "Absolutely, I'd be very happy to answer your comments. We have a truly talented young woman," he says as Stella blows on the tip of her finger as if it was a gun. The others cheer for her backstage while Naruto slips away unnoticed, heading toward the back of the crowd. A few moments pass as the judges were making their final votes. All the contestants were gathered on the stage and were waiting for the results. Most however looked disheveled and worn out. The only two that didn't look worn out were Stella and Lucy. And now, the moment we've all been waiting for. The coronation of this year's Miss Magix. Let's have a round of applause for all of our contestants. The announcer says with the crowd clapping to the girls. He gets handed an envelope that had the results. He rips it open and takes out the note with the winner's name. And with the judges' votes, this year's Miss Magix is. The announcer stops for a dramatic pause as Stella waits to hear who won, thinking it was her but. Miss Lucy. He yells, causing Stella to get mad. Lucy gasps as the crowd went wild, applauding her as the attendants put on the crown and sash. Icy's eyes flash purple and suddenly, Lucy started convulsing before she turns back into her normal appearance. This makes everyone stop and see her and realize she was using a spell the entire time. The crowd began to laugh and boo at her as her crown and sash were taken away. She begins to tear up and starts to cry and runs off the stage from embarrassment and shame. At the far back of the hall, Mirta was standing by the door and she watched what had happened. She lets out a sigh and shakes her head, knowing that she did try to warn her friend about this but she didn't listen. She turns to the door and leaves the center to head back to Cloud Tower. The Trix were laughing their heads off at what they did. This was pure gold. Suddenly, a black blade appeared at their necks, causing them to freeze, feeling the cold steel touching their skin. Are you three really masochists or something to do this to a poor girl, or do you really just enjoy ruining people's lives? A voice spoke from behind. They slowly turned to see who it was and they came face to face with Naruto, whose pupils were slit but whose irises were still the same deep blues, glaring at them. You. Icy says. She was starting to gather her magic to freeze Naruto and kill him when he slightly moves his sword, now really touching her neck, which makes her stop. Yeah, me. And don't do anything, especially in a place where there are witnesses, and do you really want to PSS off the guy who has a blade by your neck? Naruto asks, clenching his sword as he dares them to try anything. Fortunately, the Trix didn't do a thing. Good, you do listen. Now listen here, I don't appreciate what you did here tonight against all those girls, and I really don't appreciate how you nearly tried to hurt my friend while she was performing. I don't know what you three were thinking about coming here and trying to ruin things for everyone, but my friend there, she prepared for this and this is important to her. And I'll be damned if I let you try to ruin this for her. So, what's it going to be? I slice your throats and end this CRP once and for all, or you three leave and don't try and come near us again. And you better choose fast, 'cause I'm so close to running out of patience. He says. The Trix looked at their opinions and saw the pros and cons of them. Looking at each other, they nod and slowly get up. Naruto backs away but was still on guard in case they changed their minds and try something. They back away from him with their hands up. Once they were away from each other in the distance, did they ease up a bit? Let's get out of here, girls, we're done. Icy says as she and her friends were leaving the hall, but Icy turns back to Naruto and glares at him. You better pray to the great dragon that we don't meet face to face again. 'Cause if we do, you rip your heart out and freeze before crushing it as you die. She says, as she leaves and slams the door. I'd like to see you try cold-hearted beach. Naruto coldly says as he unequipped his sword and makes his way back to the others. Once the booing and laughing had calmed down, did the announcer read something he got from the judges. Well, as we just saw, Miss Lucy had been using magic throughout the duration of the contest, and is, therefore, disqualified. Therefore, this year's Miss Magix will go to the runner-up, Miss Stella, Princess of Solaria. The announcer says, causing Stella to gasp in shock as joy overcame her. She walks up to the front and is presented with the sash and crown. The crown claps and cheers for her and she takes a bow. Backstage, the girls hug one another, in celebration of Stella's win as Naruto joins in. A few minutes later. Outside the center. The Winx were walking out of the center, now having done the pageant. Oh, man. I feel fantastic. Stella says in a happy tone. She was spinning around as she walked before turning around to her friend. Come on, let's go and celebrate. She says, but all of them shook their heads. No, we have to get home and rest. Tekna says. Naruto moves towards Stella and walks beside her as he pulls something out of his jacket pocket. Oh, but the night's still young. I know this great spot by the park where we can dash, Stella was saying, but Bloom cuts her off. Aren't you forgetting something, Stella? Bloom asks, crossing her arms while giving Stella a stern look. What? Stella asks, confused about what Bloom could be asking. Clung lock. Suddenly, Stella hears something snap in place and lock in as she then suddenly felt most of her magic reserves drain away in an instant while feeling something on her right wrist. She looks down and sees a metal cuff with glowing runes on it and glowing red stones embedded in the cuff. What's this, and why do I feel drained? Stella says, feeling a bit tired. That, my dear, is a prototype magic dampener of my boss's design. It was made and designed to drain the magic out of the user, not enough to kill them but enough to leave them without magic to use to escape. I went to my job and borrowed for just in case you try and skip studying. You promised us, Stella, that you'd study all night and a promise is a promise. He's right, Stella, you did promise. Are you going to break it? Bloom asks. Stella looks around and see the rest were looking at her with stern expressions and she knew she could get out of this. Sighing, Stella looks down. Oh, okay. I'll study. Stella says, and with that, the Winx heads toward the bus station to head back home for the all-night study session. Magic Universe Magix. Monday. Winx dorm, Althea Magix. The midterm exams have ended and with it, the semester. And every one of the students had left the campus and headed back home to their home realms to go and relax, rest their bodies and minds, or simply spend time with their loved ones. Well, almost everyone. There was one female student who remained at Althea, and that was Musa, in her PJs as she was currently in her dorm room, reading one of her novels in trying to relax. Now, why was she the only one left at Althea while everyone else, including some of the staff and her friends, had left for their vacation? Well, to answer that, I'll have to take you all back in time and let the story take over. Flashback. Friday evening. Winx dorm, Althea Magix. So, who's ready to go back home for the vacation? Stella yells, standing up from her seat. She and the other girls were in their lounge area, discussing the upcoming break. Why are you so excited about this, Stella? It's just a week break. Bloom asks. Stella just turns to the Earth Fairy. Yeah, but a week of no school is a paradise to me. No waking up early, no homework or assignments or particles. And finally, no witches. It's just fun, fun and fun from here on out. Stella says, falling back to the couch where Bloom and Tenka sat. Flora sat on one of the other chairs in the room while Musa was on the floor, legs crossed. So, what are you guys going to do this break? Bloom asks. Well, I'm heading back home. It's that time when they start to bloom and I'm planning on being there to capture the moment. Flora says. I'm heading back home on Zenith. It's that time for the open cards of EVO are open. And I'm planning on entering them this year. What about you, Bloom? Tekna asks, turning to the red hair. I'm going back to my parents. It's almost time for Thanksgiving on Earth and I want to spend it with my family. Bloom says, feeling really excited to see her parents after not seeing them for nearly 5 months. Ah, that's really sweet, Bloom. Flora says, smiling at Bloom, making her smile as well. Thanks, Flora. Bloom says. She then turns to Stella. So, what are your plans for the break, Stella? She asks as Stella gains a smirk and flashes out her card. I'm heading home and doing tons of shopping. It's that time of year when the new fashion season is about to start and I need to seriously change my style to that season to stay in trend. Stella says. The girls knew that this was so Stella, so it wasn't really surprising to hear that. Bloom turns to the last one, being Musa. And you, Musa? What are you going to do at your home realm? Bloom asks. Musa just shakes her head. Oh, I'm not going home. Musa says, surprising the others. Huh? Why? Flora asks. Knowing my dad, he'll probably won't be at home since some music concert or festival is happening in another realm. So, my house would be empty and I really don't want to have to deal with things back home. So, I'm just going to stay here and relax during the break. Musa says. Are you sure you want to stay here, Musa? It could get boring here being all alone. Stella says. Better than going to an empty house. Musa says. She sees the girls were looking at her with worried looks and she gets up. Look, I'll be fine, girls. Trust me, I've got my books with me to keep me occupied. I'll be fine. Really? She says, reassuring them. Are you really sure okay with this? Tenka asks. Musa just smiles and waves their concern. Yep, I'll be fine. You girls just go back home and enjoy your vacations. You all need it, me too. I'm just doing things differently, that's all. Musa says. The girls look at her and saw that she was serious about this and felt that it could be okay for her to stay. Okay. But just promise us that you'll be okay. Bloom says. Musa nods and smiles. Promise. Musa says. The girl then got together and gave each other a big group hug. End flashback. That was a few days ago and Musa was utterly bored out of her mind right now. She was on her bed, reading one of her novels with it levitating in the air with the use of her magic. She was on the last page of the novel and was reading it at a surprising rate, which of course didn't take her that long to finish the page and the book. She sighs and makes the book float toward her bookshelf where all of her other novels, the ones she also read, were stationed and placed the book in its correct place. Musa flops backward on her bed and stares at the ceiling. Great. I am now officially bored. I did everything imaginable in the span of just 3 days. I went to Magix, while avoiding that part of the city in case of any which was there, and did my things there, including watching the latest movie. I then tuned my bass and guitar and read all my novels. I even did all the assignments we were given before the break. Started yesterday. Musa thought, grabbing her untied hair as she was getting frustrated at the fact she did everything too quickly. She sighs and lets go of her hair and looks back to the ceiling. Man, there's nothing to do here. All the professors are gone except Faragonda and Griselda. I could go back home, but what's the point? I mean, Dad's not even there since there's a festival somewhere in the universe that must have his attention. Plus, I really don't want to deal with them again. What am I going to do? Musa thought, about to accept the dread that is boredom when she remembers something. Wait, a festival? Isn't the Rising Sun Festival this week back home? Musa thought. She sits up and turns to her bedside where her phone rested. She grabs it and starts to scroll through posters she had on it for future use. Most of them were music related, others were just others, and let's leave it at that. Musa scrolls through the posters for what she was looking for and soon finds the poster and sees its dates and saw that the festival was starting tomorrow. It is. Maybe, I could go there. I mean, it's just a 2-day festival and it could be fun. There'll be food, games, stands and of course, music. But, there'll be loads of couples there, and the chances of me getting hit on by desperate guys are high. Great. She thought, sighing once more. Musa flops back onto her bed and closes her eyes, ready to call it quits, when she realizes there was someone who could go with her. Someone she hasn't heard from these last couple of days. Naruto. Maybe he could come along with me. Maybe he'll agree in coming along with me. Musa thought. She looks back to her phone for the time and saw it was 10:06. Okay, it's still early, meaning he could either be here in his room or at work in the city. I just hope he'll be in his room so I can talk to him about this. She thought, making her decision. Musa gets up from her bed and headed to the bathroom to go get cleaned up before heading towards the tunnels in Naruto's room. She turns on the hot water in the shower, letting the water heat up as steam was filling the room. Musa looks at the mirror and thought about Naruto and his choice of the plan. I just hope he agrees with this. I could really need his company for this, and, to spend some time with him. Musa thought, with her last thought causing her to have a small blush. Once she felt the shower had reached the right level of hot and cool water, she grabs her powder blue sweatshirt and starts to remove it as the steam fills the room completely, making her disappear in it. Naruto's cave, Althea Magix. Naruto wasn't at work as he got the week off but instead was in his room in the garage bay, busy working on something he has been actually working on for a while now. It was nowhere near complete but it was getting there. He was covered in oil and stains as he backs away from his project and looks at it and smiles at how it was coming along. A few more months of this and then some fine-tuning and she'll be ready. Man, I can't wait to show you off to Frank, Granny, Auntie, and the girls when you're done, tested, and ready since I don't want to blow up. Naruto says, feeling quite proud at what he was looking at as he grabs a cloth and wipes his hands clean of the oil on them. Suddenly, there was a knock at his door, making him turn to it. Who is it? Naruto asks, thinking it could be one of the staff. It's me Naruto, Musa. Musa's voice rang on the other side of the door, surprising him since he assumed that all the girls had left for the break. Oh, coming. Jay, just give me a minute. Naruto says, dropping the cloth, he heads over to the project and covers it with a big piece of cloth. Once it was concealed, Naruto heads over to the door and opens it, seeing Musa there, in her casual wear. Hey Musa, what are you doing here? Didn't you leave with the others? Naruto asks. Musa shakes her head. No, I didn't. I decided to stay behind and relax. Musa says. Naruto nods. Oh, okay. Naruto says, seeing the logic in that. So, what's with the whole oil on you? Musa asks, taking note of the oil on him currently. Oh, I was busy working on my bike. It needed some maintenance. Naruto says, lying of course to protect his project. Oh, okay. Musa says. Sure, what's up? Naruto says and Musa starts rubbing her arm. Well, I came down here and wanted to ask you, if you want to come with me to Melody. Musa asks, making Naruto look at her with a surprised expression. To Melody, the musical realm? Your home realm? Naruto asks and Musa nods. Why? He asks. Well, I kinda got bored here quickly and I remembered that's gonna be a big festival there that starts tomorrow night. And I wanted to go there but I need someone to go with. So, I figured that maybe I could ask you. Musa says. Naruto leans on his doorframe and thinks about it. A festival? I've never been to a festival that's in another realm before. Naruto says, thinking about it with his eyes squinted. He looks back at Musa. What's gonna be there? He asks. Oh, there's going to be games, food stands where you can buy various things, and a big stage where music performances are going to be. Musa says. Naruto nods but he starts to rub the back of his head, nervously. I see. Well, I don't think I can go with you to Melody. Naruto says, making Musa look at him. What? Why? Musa asks. I don't know if Granny will let me go, since I'm still a secret to the world. Naruto says. Musa's eyes widen at the memory of the night she and the others learned about Naruto and his conditions. Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Musa says, looking downcast at the realization, which Naruto instantly notices. But I could go and ask her if I can. Naruto says, making Musa look at him with hope. Really? Musa asks. I could try and convince her if I can go. If she says yes, we'll definitely go. Promise, Naruto says. Oh okay. If she does say yes, you can call me and we'll go. Musa says. Alright. Naruto says. Musa nods and processes to leave the tunnel. Naruto closes his door and sighs as he walks back to the garage bay and looks at the concealed project of his. Melody. The realm of music. Maybe it'll be a good idea for me to get out of here. I have been in my room for the last 3 days working on my little side project. Maybe this could be good for me, plus heading to a whole different realm could change the pace I've been going in for a while now. Naruto thought. He thinks about the possible outcomes of asking Faragonda if he could go and the most possible outcome he saw was her saying no. He sighs again. I just hope she agrees. That was his last thought as he goes to his bathroom to go and get cleaned up. Faragonda's office, Althea Magix. Faragonda was in her office, looking at an old-looking book while drinking some tea. The book was a book about the different origins and history of all the known realms in the Magix universe. And the realm she was busy looking at was the now barren planet, Domino. Why would Bloom be so interested in Domino? Is there a connection between her and Domino? Faragonda thought, looking at the book. She had heard for Bloom's midterm exam, she picked a simulation of Domino which piqued her intrigue. Seeing that Bloom was an Earth fairy, so why would she be interested in a planet as barren as Domino? Her thoughts were put to a halt when she hears a knock. Come in. Faragonda says, thinking it was the door when actually, it was the bookshelf opening and Naruto walks in his casual clothes. Oh, Naruto. Hello. She greets her adoptive grandson. Hi, Granny. Naruto greets back. What brings you here? Faragonda says as she closes the book while Naruto came up to her desk and sat down on one of the chairs. Well, Granny. I came here to ask you something. Naruto says. Oh, and what is it? Faragonda says. Well, see Musa came to my room a little while ago. Naruto says, surprising Faragonda a bit. Musa? She's still here. Faragonda asks as Naruto nods. What did she ask you? She asks. She asked if I could go with her to Melody for the remainder of the break since there's going to be a festival there. Naruto. She came and asked if you wanted to go with her to Melody for the rest of the break? Faragonda asks, and Naruto nods. Yep. So, can I go? Naruto asks, hoping that she would agree, but Faragonda had another thought. I'm sorry Naruto, but I don't. You should go. Faragonda says, catching Naruto off guard as he looks at her with wide eyes. But why granny? Naruto asks. It's dangerous for you to go to another realm. You're something that Magix has never seen before, a complete mystery, and it would be dangerous if anyone were to discover you know. You still don't have any of your memories, and if anyone were to figure out just what and who you are, it could lead to disasters. Faragonda says. Naruto stands up and places his hands on her desk. But granny, I can protect myself. You know I can. Naruto says, holding out his left arm with his rune glowing. But still I think you shouldn't dash. Faragonda was trying to say something but Naruto cut her off. Please, I can't stay here. Please, I promised Musa I'd go with her. Please. Please let me go. Naruto says, holding his hands together and giving her a pleading look. Faragonda sees the look and knew that Naruto wasn't going to let this go or give up. So, she sighs. Alright. You can go. Faragonda says, and just as Naruto was about to cheer, she stops him. But on a few conditions. Faragonda says. Okay, what are they? Naruto asks, sitting back down in his seat and listening to what Faragonda had to say. First, look after yourself and Musa. Faragonda says. Naruto nods. Okay. Naruto says. Second, don't do anything that'll attract attention toward yourself. Keep a low profile. Faragonda says. Alright. Naruto says. And third and lastly, enjoy yourselves. Faragonda says. Naruto flashes a grin. Okay, granny. Naruto says. He gets up from his seat and heads over to Faragonda, and gives her a big hug. Oh, you're the best ever. I promise I'll be safe. He says. Faragonda just smiles and returns the hug. I'm sure you will. Have fun over there Naruto. Faragonda says. I will. Naruto says. He then lets go of her and heads over to the bookshelf and opens it. Bye, I'll see you on Sunday. Naruto says, waving Faragonda with her waving back to him. Bye Naruto. Faragonda says. The blonde walks into the bookshelf as it closes, leaving her in the office. She sighs and looks toward the ceiling. She knew that Naruto could take care of himself, but she was understandingly worried about him. I hope I've made the right choice in this. Faragonda thought, sighing once more. She turns back to the old book and opens the book again to the page of Domino and the Great Dragon, looking for any information that could help the puzzle that was Bloom. Naruto's Cave Althea, Magix. Naruto and Musa were in his garage bay right beside his bike, as they were busy packing their bags and placing them into Naruto's rune seal for storage as they were discussing. I can't believe Miss Faragonda really let you go with me. Musa says. She was surprised when Naruto came to her and said he could go with her and explained the conditions he received. Naruto couldn't happy but nod. I know right? I really thought she wasn't going to, but after convincing her that it'll be fine, she let me go. Naruto says, putting on his Letterman jacket while handing Musa a hoodie. Man, this is going to be awesome. We'll have a great time over there and at the festival. I promise that you'll have a great time. Musa says, smiling brightly at Naruto, which he unknowingly found to be cute. He couldn't help but crack a smile too. I look forward to that Musa. Naruto says. Once they had finished their preparations, Naruto hops onto his bike and starts it up, making it roar to life. Musa hops onto it shortly after and wraps her arms around Naruto's midsection. He looks over his shoulder at her. You ready? Naruto asks and Musa nods. Yup. Musa says. Okay then. Let's go. Naruto says. He sets off, and the two exit the tunnel via the secret entrance. They travel down the road to Magic City at a fair pace, not too fast and not too slow as they were taking in the scenery around them. They drive into the city as Naruto stops at a light. He turns to Musa and asks a question that's been in his mind since they left Alfea. So, how do we get to Melody? I mean, I can't exactly drive all the way there since I have no idea how to get there. Naruto asks. Musa giggles. Oh, there's easy. Just go up. Musa says, causing Naruto to get confused. Up? Naruto asks. Yes, up. Look up. Musa says, pointing up to the sky. Naruto looks up and sees several flying magic cars in the air as they fly straight into the sky and just disappear into thin air after they fly into a bunch of clouds. See what just happened? She asks and Naruto nods. Yeah, what happening to the cars? Naruto asks. There are something called the Interdimensional Neural Teleportation Network or INTN, aka an interdimensional portal highway. We use those to trip across realms to our destination. Musa says. How do we use them? 'Cause I don't see any signs telling us where to go. Naruto says. Oh, just think on where you want to go and it'll take us there. If there's more than one person in a vehicle, the driver has to be the one who thinks about the destination. Musa says. Then we have a problem. I have no idea where Melody is. Naruto says. Relax, I'll do the thinking while you just drive and don't think. That shouldn't be too hard for you. Musa says, cracking a smirk. Okay, hey. Naruto says, but he registers what Musa said and turns to her with a glare, making her laugh. Kidding. I'm kidding. Just don't think about any place and we'll be fine. Musa says. Naruto stops glaring but pouts. He nods. Okay. Naruto says. The light turns green and they set off, going down the street. Naruto looks up again and spots a car flying, assuming to one of these portals. Well, this does give me the opportunity to finally test the other feature out. I just hope it'll finally work this time and not throw me off like last time. I was stuck in Auntie's office for a week because of it. Naruto thought. He looks down at the bike's handlebar and sees a flickering button. He presses the button and the bottom of Akira started to glow blue as it was hovering higher than usual. He leans back, lifting the front of the bike up while twisting the throttle, adding more power from the engine, and the bike starts to fly into the air, heading to the clouds where the car was heading toward one of the clouds. They follow the car into the cloud and see something up ahead. It was a glowing portal in the shape of a hexagon. The car ahead of them flies straight into the portal and disappears in a flash. Is that it? Naruto asks. Musa nods. Looks like it. Remember what I said, don't think about any other place or else we'll be teleported somewhere else and we won't know how to get back. It's either that way or no way. Musa says. Naruto gains a serious expression and nods. Yeah, got it. Naruto says. He steadies Akira and lines up with the portal as he takes a deep breath, closes his eyes, and starts to clear his mind of anything. They fly into the portal and disappear from Magix. Naruto could feel the bike shaking while hearing various sounds around him. He slowly opens his eyes as they widen and he sees they were traveling at a high speed, passing by multiple realms and stars as they were teleporting. He looks back and sees Musa had her eyes closed and was holding onto him tight. He turns around and sees a light up ahead, which makes him close his eyes again as the shakings start to grow more violent, and then, nothing. Naruto just started to feel the wind blow by, making him open his eyes once more and sees they were in the sky again. Are we there? Naruto asks. Musa opens her eyes and looks around, seeing they were in flying through clouds. Once they exit the clouds, she looks down and smiles. Yup. Look down. Musa says. Naruto looks down and his eyes widen in a shocking surprise. Whoa! Naruto utters, captured by the beauty of the scenery below them. The area was filled with mountains that were surrounded by large, dense forests with reddish leaf trees. There was an ocean near a large city with structures built with wood. Musa looks at Naruto and sees he was shocked. She snickers. I know. Musa says. She looks back down to the city. Naruto, welcome to Melody. She says. Magix Universe Realm, M895, Melody. This is beautiful. Naruto says. Yeah, it is. Musa says. They continue to fly through the air, passing many buildings as they fly through the city. Musa looks around and smiles, happy to be back home after all these months. She looks at the ocean and sees houses along the coastline. She turns to Naruto. Take us toward those houses near the beach. Musa says, pointing toward the houses. Naruto sees the houses and nods. Okay. Naruto says. He steers toward the coastline. Once they reach the coast, they flew over the many houses. Musa looks over Naruto's shoulder and looks at the houses in the area for one until she found it. See that house with the music notes on the roof? Musa asks. She points and Naruto follows where she was pointing and sees a house near the end of the coast. It did have musical notes on the roof. Yeah. Naruto says. Land us over there. Musa says. Okay. Naruto nods and flies toward the house. He passes the houses along the way and once they reach the house, he descends to the ground and lands Akira on the ground. The two look at the house as Musa steps forward. Welcome to my house. Musa says. Naruto looks at the house and saw it was like the other houses and buildings in the city but it had palm trees instead of the trees that were around the realm. Looks good. Naruto says. The two walk toward the house as Musa pulls out a key from her pocket. She puts the key into the door and opens it as she walks into the house and looks around for anyone. Dad? You here? Musa calls out, waiting for a response. One she doesn't receive. She smiles. Good, he isn't here. We can come in. She says, letting Naruto in as he pulls their luggage from his room and carries them inside the house. You still sure for us to do this? Should you at least call your dad and let him know that you have a guest with you, a guest who's a boy? Naruto asks, feeling a bit unsure about entering someone else's house. Musa waves his concern off. Nah, it's fine. Really. As I said, he isn't here at this time since he's probably at another music festival in another realm far from here. So, it'll be fine for you to stay here for the break. Musa says. Naruto nods, remembering the discussion they had earlier. Yeah, I remember. Naruto says, placing the luggage down on the floor and starts looking around the house as he sees many pictures on the walls. Most of them were Musa and a woman who looked a lot like her. Musa walks into the kitchen, toward the fridge, and opens it to find it stocked to the brim with various food items. Good, the fridge is stocked. Just need to remember what to restock what we eat before leaving. Musa says. Closing the fridge and starts looking into the cupboards of anything else in them. Naruto was in the living room with Musa walking into it. So, what time is this festival gonna start tomorrow? Naruto asks. Musa shrugs her shoulders and pulls out her phone to see the poster again and see what the time on it says. At around 17:30. Musa says. Naruto nods. Cool. Just we have loads of time to kill. Naruto says as he sits on the floor and lays on it. Musa shakes her head and heads over to him. Nope, you're not. We have something to do. Musa says, making him look up at her. What? What do we have to do? Naruto asks. You seriously think you can go in that? Musa asks, pointing to his current outfit. What's wrong with my clothes? Naruto asks, looking at them. Nothing is wrong with them. It's just, you really can't go to the festival in them. You have to wear a certain outfit for it. A yukata, Musa says, making Naruto sit up and look at her with a raised eyebrow. What now? Naruto asks. Musa doesn't say anything else and just walks out of the room and up the stairs. He waits a bit before he hears footsteps again and Musa enters the room again, and this time she had a pink box with her. She places the box on the floor and opens it with something inside it. She takes the item from the box and holds it out to Naruto. He was looking at garment that had flower patterns. It looked to be hand-sewn into a T shape. It was red in color with a flower pattern on the garment. This is a yukata. It's worn in celebration or for a special event. Every year when the Rising Sun Festival comes here, everyone wears this for tradition. Everyone who is gonna go to the festival has to wear one or you're not going in. Musa says as she carefully places the yukata back into the box. But I don't have a yukata of my own. Naruto says. Duh, I know that. Which is why we're going into town and getting one for you. Musa says, making Naruto look at her. Huh? Naruto says. We're going into town and we're going shopping for your own yukata, plus we need to buy other things with us before we head to the festival. Musa says. Naruto just lets out a long sigh. Why now? Can't this wait till tomorrow? Naruto whines, not wanting to get up, but Musa just shakes her head. Sorry, but due to the festival, most of the stores will be closed with everyone going to the festival. If you need something in town, now's the time to get it. Musa says. Naruto lets out another sigh upon hearing that and knew that this had to be done sooner than later. Fine. Naruto says. He stands up as they exit the house. Naruto heads over to Akira and was about to hop onto it when Musa grabs him by his arm and stops him from doing so. Nah, we're not using your bike this time. We're walking into town. Musa says, making Naruto turn to her. What? Why, riding Akira will get us to wherever we're going faster. Naruto says. Naruto, I want to take in as much of Melody while I'm here. Please, do this for me. Musa says. Naruto was about to say something when Musa starts to give him an adorable pleading look, making him freeze from what he was about to say. While he tries to not break from her look, it wasn't enough and he is defeated. He looks down and sighs. Okay, we can walk. Naruto says as Musa smiles and hugs him. Oh, thank you. Musa yells, trust me, this will be nice. She says as she lets go of Naruto. Okay. Naruto says as he presses a button on Akira. The button acts as a defense against those foolish enough to try and steal her. What it does, only Naruto and Hank know, as they were the ones who installed the defense into the bike. With the bike secured, the pair head off into the town for their shopping. Along the way, Musa has a pep to her step, looking around the beach and scenery around them and taking it in as she smiles brightly from this. Naruto looks at her and sees just how happy Musa was and couldn't help but smile as well. Man, she looks so happy. Guess being back home really brings that out of her. Naruto thought. He looks back to the road ahead and thinks about I wonder how I'd be if I was back home, in my original realm. He thought, losing his smile and gaining a sad expression, remembering that he has no memories of his past. Musa turns to him and sees the expression that was currently on his face, and that worried her. Naruto. Naruto. Musa class out to him, causing him to snap out of his thoughts and turns to her. Huh? Naruto utters. Are you okay? You looked a bit out of it. Musa says, looking worried. Naruto shakes his head and flashes a grin at her. Why yeah. I was just thinking about something. No biggie. Naruto says, reassuring her he was okay. Musa looks at him for a bit before slowly nodding. Okay. Musa says. She wasn't convinced as the grin Naruto flashed looked fake. She should know, since she did the same in her past. So alright folks, that's all for today. Stay tuned for part 7. Do subscribe, like and share for more such videos. Also check out the story and author Pixel's fanbook on fanfiction.net. Press the bell icon to be notified first on release. See you in the next video. Till then, goodbye.